I'm Martin Heider from NH Architecture. I'm principal at NH, and I'm excited to present to you 600 Bourke Place today on behalf of NH Architecture and 3XN, who we collaborated with on this project. When we set out or started on this project, we set the foundation to reconnect 600 Bourke Place with the city. And in order to do so, there was some rewiring of its components that was required to let us do that. 600 Bourke Place is situated on the corner of Bourke Street and King Street, and it's also connected to a series of laneways in the CBD city fabric. As we found the lobby, it was a, how do I put it, a tired and a little dark and quite separated. Designed in the, or completed in the early 90s by Gottfried Spowers. It was part of that traditional corporate ethos where keeping the public out was better than letting too much in. And that was expressed in the building fabric. You can see there were walls, there were airlocks, everything just seemed a little bit disconnected. But one thing we did find was it had an incredible height. We're talking about 12 meters. So we really wanted to take that on and see what we can do with it. This is what we did with it. We reimagined the lobby, a lobby that is in a contemporary expression, connected to the city, but also connected to light and air, and also connecting to all its components of the building and referring back to the rewiring of the building, allowing for different experiences of different scales and working with this height of 12 meters, not only in expressing it, but also reducing it. And some of the lights you can see assisted us in sculptural, with sculptural techniques, I guess, to achieve that outcome. Going back to its disconnected condition, I call it, where we found these very restricting thresholds. And what we set out to do was to really connect through seamlessly and allow people to roam and to break out. And so we've introduced a series of landscape terraces that are on the outside. They are protected by the wind, but they're fully connected to the outside with fresh air. And they do have landscape integration as well as the visual connections to the city. And obviously in the red areas, you see the physical connections back to Little Bourke Street, to the front of Bourke Street and throughout. And this is how it played out. It's a space that is physically connected, but as I said before, it's also connected to air and light. And it was very important for us to express the different scales and the layering of this spatial sequence. There are physical connections, and that's on the left, a connection to Little Bourke Street. On the right, you've got the breakout spaces and the spaces that, I guess, allow for respite and experiences where someone can just tuck themselves away and have a conversation. It actually, and that was not quite anticipated, but in the pandemic, these spaces have been highly frequented. And then we were also engaged to take this concept up. So we took on the publicness of the lobby on the ground and connected it all the way up to level 51. We refurbished 50% of the tower, and the important part for us was to keep that consistency and the story, the narrative that we've set up on the ground. When you arrive, there's a sense of, I guess, grandness, of brightness, but we also wanted to introduce contrast. And on the left, you see an example where, I guess, a loading circle, a loading turning circle that was not necessary anymore was turned into a seating nook. And you probably by the time now have noticed there's a bit of a Hitchcock moment going on. I'm appearing in some of these images. And that was due to the pandemic. We had to be creative, and so that's a little pun here. Prototyping was an essential part of the process, and we went through the effort of testing the light conditions. Here you see, I guess, the central part of the ground lobby, where we introduced a 3D shaped stone wall, and we really wanted to get that light right into the pointy end of it. And this was the outcome of it. When you get the chance to go there, it's probably not quite possible to express it in the images, but there's that sense of layeredness where you have a brass inlay in the floors, a brass inlay in the wall. As you get closer, there is the intent of the grand scale, but also the intimate detail that you will experience when you get close to it and touch it. The prototyping, and I'm saying this because these pieces of stone, and there's 6 of them in a vertical stacking, weigh about 600 kilograms. So bringing them to a 3mm precision that aligns the walls, the verticals with the floor, was a substantial effort structurally, but also from a pure design aesthetic. And using the stone and the material to its advantage, carving details into the stone for signage, using it to really get a texture that you only experience when you close. And I guess this is a bit of an architect's dream when you get to the level where you can actually design custom balustrades and custom light fittings. We were really pleased that we're allowed to do that. And so we've been able to follow through, I guess, the verticality of the design language, the layeredness, and the subtleness as well, that we could carry through into those elements. And again, you have to go there to experience it. And to finish off, the lobby.
1 minute remaining.
The lobby is a public lobby. We want it to be warm and inviting, and we think, giving you that example at the start, it's a lobby that when you're on the outside, it's got that glow, and that sort of draws you in through the first threshold. But when you're in there, there's different spaces and experiences that create that multi-layered experience and connection that we wanted to achieve with this outcome. Thank you.